So I'm Amenya Akwate Fakwenu. I'm 49 years old, a professional teacher and a professional broadcast journalist, and a sickle cell patient.
How long have you been teaching?
I've been teaching for 24 years now. I started teaching in 98, September 98. So for 24 years now.
4 years.
And I've been...
Being a teacher.
It's interesting. It's wonderful. Especially when you meet your students, your past students in town, and you realize that they are doing something profitable for themselves. It's so satisfying. The primary school, but now I teach in a secondary school. So I teach at KSTS, Patasi. Yeah. So it's interesting. Yeah.
What are the memorable moments in teaching?
In teaching. Well, there are so many. There are so many. But there was this student that I had when I was teaching them at KSTS. I taught them in Form 2 and then in Form 3. He was a bully. Very thick, tall, and if you are not careful, even if you are a teacher, he can bully you. He wouldn't come to class on time, and he does what he wants. So when I was introduced to the class to teach them, I teach business management, so I teach business students. He came in late, and then I asked him, where are you coming from? And the way he just stood there and looked at me from top to down, I said, wow, you'll be a good bodyguard. So from today onwards, you are going to be my bodyguard. Because I had heard about his attitude towards teachers and his fellow students. When I said that, he was surprised. And since that day, he never mixed my class. Because I made him known that he was needed in class. By making him my bodyguard, he felt important. Most of the time when students are bullied, it's either they've been bullied themselves while they were growing up, or they don't get the attention they need in the house. So if you are a teacher, you need to find a way to get to them. So by making him that important person beside me, I was able to get to him, and he never mixed a class. He still calls me, we still have discussions. He's somebody now. And it's anytime I think about it, I never forget him. Stephen, I never forget him.
I realize you.
I was born with it. And growing up, I realized that I was different. Because in the primary school, my mom would tell me, when you go to school and they are playing around, don't play. Don't play ampe, don't play any kind of activity that will make you exert a lot of energy. Don't do it. I didn't understand. I realized that anytime I go to school and I play with my friends, doing a lot of very active activity, in the evening I'll get so tired, and the next morning it becomes difficult for me to wake up or get out of bed. So I asked my mom what was wrong, and it was explained to me that I was different. I and my brother, who was just behind me, we were different. Among our siblings, we were sickle cell patients. Unfortunately, he died at the age of 12, but God being so good, I'm still here. So around age 10, that was when I really understood the situation and the things I needed to do to be able to survive. We are now 7. So, because the one that was coming right after me is dead. So we are...
The rest are not sickle cell patients?
No, they all have the traits. They are carriers. So they are okay.
Okay. Since the age of 10?
10. It's not been easy. I've been blessed with... I would say I'm a smart person, because at the age of 12, I entered secondary school. I did a common entrance and I passed, and I entered secondary school. So I'm not a dull person. But because of sickle cell, it took me 6 years instead of 5 years to finish the O level. When I was in Form 2, almost the whole year, I was hospitalized because I was getting crisis on and off. I was getting crisis on and off. Change of environment. Anytime I go to school from the house, I was a boarder. Things get difficult and then I get sick, so I go back. So it was after I was repeated in Form 2, and then I was lucky I got a doctor who took me through the things I should do, the kind of food I should eat, how I should take care of myself. And then from then, I was able to manage it, and I've been managing it till now. So it's not easy, but with God on our side, we are trying.
Hospital bills?
Plenty. If you are not careful, you will think that you are cursed, because at the end of the month, you will be buying drugs. You receive your salary, you have to buy drugs. You have to go to the hospital. Anything that changes from your normal activity, if you are not careful, it sets in your crisis. And it's difficult.
How much do you spend for drugs?
Well, I can't quantify for a month because it depends on how often you buy them. But at the moment, I have issues, I have complications. So I spend about 500 thereabout, buying multivitamin, buying painkillers, buying supplements.
Hospital? Have you been just in hospital for
Yes, for the time, for about 5-6 years now, it hasn't been that frequent because I've been taking care of myself. But 2020 was a terrible year for me because I had COVID, a sickle cell patient with COVID. It was terrible. And since then, I've been having complications. So almost every month I visit my doctor just for checkup, so that I will know that I'm okay. I don't regret because it's my plight. That is why I want to reach more people who are like me, so that they can take care of themselves. Because I was lucky. My mom and my dad understood the condition. They helped me to understand my condition. No, both of them are carriers. Both of them are carriers. So I and my brother were sicklers. The rest of my siblings are also carriers. So I got to know it early in life, and I've been managing it. Though no matter how you manage it, sometimes you get the complications as I have now, but you have to deal with it. That is why I want to reach more people who are like me, who do not know much about their condition, so that they can be able to manage the condition. They'll be able to understand the condition and be able to manage it well. Because if you manage it well, you can live a normal life like any other person is living.
So
Yeah.
it is not
Worried about. You need to be worried about it because it can be serious. One moment you will be okay, the other moment, the next moment, you could be in crisis.
But some have view that it's more like a malaria. One moment you be sick, one moment you can even die. Even malaria can kill.
Yes.
Malaria can kill. So I mean, if you vary them, you think you would think.
Nothing like malaria. For malaria, you can protect yourself by taking, putting on mosquito repellent, taking anti-malarial drugs, sleeping in a mosquito net. You'll be okay. With sickle cell, it's in you. It runs in your blood. So there is nothing that you can do to prevent it. You are born with it. And when you say somebody is a sickle cell patient, let me explain this. Maybe that will help people to understand it well. The red blood cells in our system that runs through our veins and our arteries, that carries oxygen from when we breathe in to the rest of the body, and then you breathe out. A normal person's red blood cells, when it is produced within the body, it takes 3 months, 120 days for it to expire or to die for the body to absorb it. A sickle cell patient, your red blood cells, when it is produced in the body, takes only 2 weeks for it to die, for new ones to be produced. A normal person's red blood cell is round, very flexible, so it can move within the veins and the arteries and the capillaries. Anyhow, when it gets to a place where it is so small, it will just squeeze itself, flow over, and then move. But a sickle cell patient, your red blood cell is a sickled shape. That is why it got its name. It's a sickled shape, like a half moon, and it is sticky. It's not flexible. So as it moves within your veins, when it gets to a smaller capillary or vein or artery, and it cannot move, it gets stuck. And then the rest is blocked. So that place you feel pains. So you can imagine a normal person's red blood cell takes 120 days. Yours takes 14 days. It's not normal. So if you don't take good care of yourself, if you don't manage it well, it is dangerous.
Did you ever?
It has never occurred. Just that 2020 when I had the COVID, I knew I was going to die because it was terrible. But to take my life, no, I haven't, because I have a lot to be grateful of. I am married. I have a husband, a very loving husband who has been supportive, very supportive. In fact, I can do the things I do because of his help. God has blessed me with 2 children, a boy and a girl. I have a loving family. I have colleagues at the workplace who support me. So why do I think of that? I would say that I have been lucky, but there are people who are sometimes suicidal. I had a friend who is also a sickle cell patient. Unfortunately, he's dead now. He died in 2020 during the lockdown. He had the most extreme sickle cell I've come across. He had skin cancers on his legs, both legs, for more than 10 years. It couldn't be healed. And it is one of the symptoms or one of the effects. Doctors wanted to do surgery so that they could take part of his skin and then cover the legs. But he was so thin that they couldn't do it. And it got to a time the family left him, because they said he was a wizard. How come you have sores and it's not healing? So you eat from it. Can you imagine?
Okay, let's talk about your family.
Carriers. AS, because my husband is AA. So both of them are carriers. Though my boy, the doctors are saying his S is dominant. So sometimes he complains of pains around his wrist and then his feet. But he's okay. It's okay. Well, they are okay. With the carriers, they are okay. With the carriers, you are okay. But when you are going to marry, you need to get somebody who is AA so that your children will be okay. Because if you marry somebody who is also AS, like my parents did, the possibility of you giving birth to a sickle cell patient is high. So after training college, I was posted to Kumasi. So I've been going to Confanoche for my clinicals. Almost every month I go there. At a point, I realized that we have an association, Sickle Cell Association, where once every month we meet and then we are giving education. But at a point, I realized that most people were not coming. And sometimes you go to clinic and you meet people who are sickle cell patients who have no idea about the disease. Their parents have no idea about the disease. All that they know is their children frequently get sick and they bring them to the hospital. So in 2013, I started thinking about it. And I picked a form and I registered an NGO. So in 2014, around June, we launched it. And then we started the ANAC Foundation, where we go to schools, we go to communities, we go to churches, and then we educate people on sickle cell. And then nutrition. Nutrition, because I realized that growing up, anytime my diet changes, I get crisis. So I added nutrition to it so that we would teach the sickle cell patients the kind of food that will be good for them, and then how they will manage themselves. And then we are advocating that every youth must know his or her status before he gets married, so that he will make informed decisions. So we started in 2014. For how far he has brought me, because I was told I will not even grow beyond 16 years. But I'm here, 49 years, very strong, active and kicking. And it is by the grace of God. I'm grateful to my husband, my children, and my family. I am encouraging every sickle cell patient out there. You are not alone. Sickle cell can be managed, and you can live your normal life to the point where God has destined you to be. So get up, get yourself ready. Don't feel suicidal. Never regret that you've been given birth to, because you can manage it and you can live a normal life. Sickle cell is not a death sentence. Thank you.
Yeah, my name is Peter Yawatefakwenu. My name is Peter Yawatefakwenu. I'm 53 years old now. I'm married to Ama Nyakun Atefakwenu. I work with Republic Bank. In fact, it has been pretty a nice journey, journey along with her. She's quite an amazing woman. And sometimes it baffles me how she combines her work, looking at the background, I mean, her health defects, but she's able to combine and have a successful and a wonderful life. Sometimes it scares. I mean, when she gets into crisis and all that. But with God on our side, we have been able to go through to this time. The advice I will give to those who happens to marry to women in that class is that they will have to be patient, and they will have to be very supportive, because they have a lot of things to offer. So if you are not patient and if you are not supportive, you will not be able to realize what is within them. So the little advice I can give is that they will have to be very close to them and offer the best of support that they can give. Because when it gets to their time that they get into crisis, it's not easy if you don't have that big heart and also the supportive heart. Sometimes you may give up, but if you are very supportive, you have the best time with them. Oh, I don't buy that idea. And no, that's why initially I said that they have very good things to offer. So if you want to look at the negative side, what about the positive side? And that perception, in fact, all that they need is support. And also make sure that you always encourage them. And you try to be very focused, and like you need to be proactive, so to speak. Because sometimes they themselves, they forget that they are in that class, so they want to live their normal life. But when you, as the husband, you realize that some of the season, like maybe getting to the rainy season, she has to make sure that she takes her drugs, the folic acid and all that. You have to always prompt them so that they tend to forget. You have to prompt them to wear protective clothing. Sometimes they also forget. But when you are concerned and when you try to make their life your priority, so to speak, always make sure that what they need, what they should have, is at hand. And also advise whenever you see anything coming up, you quickly alert your doctor. And I have no regret at all. In fact, I am privileged to have her as a wife, because she's just an amazing woman. And I don't see where they are coming from. Maybe if I get closer to them, maybe they may tell me something that I don't know. But for me, for the 17 years that we married, I have no regret at all.